Hey guys, starting to take some of your questions again on 10.4, solving quadratic equations by using the square root, basically doing the opposite and doing it to both sides, but now that opposite involves taking the square root. So we're looking at question 56 on the 10.4 homework, and remember, even though I split that up into 2 days, I want you submitting that on Flipgrid as one big assignment. So you got all week to get that done, but just felt it was better maybe for you to help you understand a little bit better to split that up into 2 days. But this is problem 56. Has to do with Fenway Park in Boston. They've got a really high left field wall called the Green Monster. You can actually sit on top of it. And they say now Fenway Park, that's where the Boston Red Sox play. It's a really cool park. From what I've seen, I'd like to visit it sometime. Not as cool as Wrigley Field, all right, but it's the oldest ballpark, I believe. Wrigley Field is the second oldest ballpark. Wrigley Field, obviously, where the Chicago Cubs call their home. Great ballpark. All right, more information than you wanted. But this one has to do with somebody dropping sunglasses or something from the top of the Green Monster, and how long is it going to take for those things to hit the ground? Well, we've got a vertical motion model here, and again, they've already got it set up for us, and I can tell from this, if you didn't know already, that 38 tells us that this Green Monster is about 38 feet high. All right, and again, we don't see the VT in the middle because we're just dropping this. These guys didn't take their sunglasses and chuck it down at the field. Though the fans of Boston have been known to do that, they're not very nice fans. They're nothing like the fans at Wrigley Field. All right, so they've dropped their sunglasses, and how long is it going to take? It's modeled by this. Well, we want to know, when is this thing going to hit the ground, and when it hits the ground, the height will be 0. So basically, we're solving that equation. That's the equation we want to solve. Now, again, it's a quadratic because it's got the t squared, but I know I can use the square root here because I don't see any t terms. All right, I should be able to get t by itself simply by doing the opposite and doing it to both sides. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to draw my honkin' tonkin' line, and I'm going to get t by itself, and this looks a little bit like a 2-step equation. All right, I know it's t squared instead of t, so it's actually a 3-step equation, but it's kind of like a 2-step equation. Give me a break. All right, so we're gonna again subtract 38 first from both sides. So I get negative 38 equals negative 16t squared. I'm going to divide that by negative 16. And again, a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And I'm going to leave this in fraction form. It's 38/16. I'm going to simplify that a little bit. I think 2 will go into both of those. So I'm going to look at that as 19/8. All right. So what I get is t squared equals 19/8. So now to figure out t, to get t by itself, I want to undo a square. The opposite of squaring something is square rooting that thing. So if you just use your ABC button, use your fraction button on your calculator, you'd want to do the square root of 19/8. Now again, it'd be fine, and this isn't a bad decimal. You could just do 19 divided by 8, get that decimal, and then use your square root button. But regardless, if I do the square root of 19/8, I get about 1 5400. Now again, let me just point this out. Notice I'm using, it's approximately 1 5400. Okay. Now again, technically, it's positive or negative 1 5400. Anytime we take the square root of both sides, we have to include both the positive root and the negative root. But all right, so both of these values make this equation true. All right. But since we're talking a story problem here, and I'm looking at time, how long is it going to take? The negative really doesn't make any sense. All right, we don't talk about -1. We don't typically talk about negative time although there will be situations when we do that, but not yet. All right. So, and I think this was in seconds. So it will take those sunglasses just a little over a second and a half before they hit the ground. Okay. All right. So vertical motion model, getting T by itself by doing the opposite and doing it to both sides, where again this opposite involves a square root. All right. So this was number 56 on the 10-4 homework. Hope that helps. Take care, guys.